Hello and welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, India's only daily television platform for small businesses. Over the past 7 years, we've understood what matters most to you, the entrepreneur. And in year 8, we're taking head-on 2 of our most pressing concerns, that of funding and mentoring. I'm Sunanda Jayaseelan. On the show tonight, first up, a conversation with Visit Health app in the influencer section. On the other side of a break is a small giant with Masaba Gupta. Our first interview tonight is with Anurag Prasad of Visit Health app, where he spoke about the role of technology when it comes to the healthcare industry here in the country, innovation and what it means for Visit, and also what the way forward is looking like. Do take a listen. Anurag, so good having you here in the studio. We love talking to entrepreneurs. No one's journey, no two people's is the same really, but you have a very fascinating personal journey. And at only 26, with a 3-year-old company, you've seen the kind of, journey that you have. Let's start by talking about, Visit. It's a tech healthcare app. So, just run us through that.
Right. So at Visit, what we are trying to develop is basically India's first 3-sided healthcare marketplace, which has providers, patients, as well as insurers. So if you look at the Indian market, by and large, a lot of talk is there around connecting patients with providers, providing them with the convenience. But there's not much work done on the payer side of things. Whether it's startups or traditional cores, especially in the primary care space. Yeah. Primary care in India by and large is out of pocket, and it's a big market. It's almost a $39 billion market. So we think that there's a huge opportunity in this space to solve for primary care costs. So there are these erratic spends in households where you end up spending potentially 10,000-12,000 rupees in just a single month, a family of 4 if you take. And we think that, you can cover for that risk by having an OPD insurance product.
Sure.
So that is where we are working. So that's why I call it a 3-sided marketplace. So you can find and book doctors on the platform. But the most important aspect is that an insurer pays for that.
Sure.
So you cover for your costs. And you can just buy that product, on the Visit app for a much lesser premium.
So my question to you is, this is your first venture. Where did the idea really for that come about? Where did you think that, this is, while there are some health tech apps in the market, what you're doing is very different from what everyone else is doing. So at what point did you say, I want to do this? At what point did you realize that this is a model which can then, be monetized as well? Because that's crucial.
So when we started off, it was a very basic and simple idea. We were just 4, college kids in BITS Pilani. Pilani being a remote area. There was a swine flu outbreak. Okay. Some of us fell ill, and we thought, we just wanted to know if we had swine flu or not. And we said, what do we do? The best option was Google. Because Pilani was a remote area, you don't have really good doctors there, or
Sure.
not enough doctors there. So we said, why not, we are doing Google, why not have an app that basically connects you with doctors remotely over phone, video or chat. And you can just talk to a doctor in 10 minutes and understand if you need to see a doctor or not. Or if it's a minor issue, whether it can be resolved via telemedicine or not.
Sure.
So that's how we got started. And we built this company for about 2.5-3 years now. And we realized that, there's a big need, there's, of course, direct to consumer is any day a very big market, but there's a very big need within corporates for this kind of a solution. There's a very big need for health insurers, because if your minor issues can be solved via telehealth, it helps them reduce a lot of costs.
Sure.
So even for the corporates, HRs within corporates are always on shoestring budgets. So they need solutions that can really help them, do more with their budgets.
What I find most interesting is that in the 3 years, you've managed to connect and impress and walk away with funding from some of the biggest names across the world. What was that experience like? Particularly because I understand that the first round of funding came in from someone who did so at the idea stage. Just break it down for our viewers to say, this is how we did it, this is how you should do it.
Right. So our first round of funding was pretty much, just a PPT and 4 of us. So we were still in our final year in college, and we walked into the office of Mr. Rakesh Verma, CEO of MapMy India, also another BITSIN alumnus. And he really liked the idea, vision, and more than that, he liked the 4 of us. So we believe, so my, my understanding is that early on, and just a year after MapMy India funding, we raised money from Bistone, the co-founder of Twitter. So we have realized that in the early stage, it's more than the business, and it's about the people. So it's about the founding team. So you need to really, you need to really hard sell your founding team. Okay. People need to believe in you. Sure. Then only they believe in your vision. So that was the thing, and we, one of the key learnings has been that rather than trying to pitch your deck or business, or your PPT, it's more about building a personal connect with your investors, and I think even at a Series A stage, that's relevant. If you do not have the connect with the, person backing you, more often than not, it doesn't work.
I guess because a lot of them are mentors as well.
Exactly. So, for example, Biz is a really good friend, and he, advises us on a lot of critical things. So, he's our go-to person for a lot of critical things. Similarly, Alagu, who is the co-founder of Blue Jeans, which is a very big video conferencing company in US. He's an angel investor, and all our early video technologies that we built out, we always reached out to him for any kind of advice, design advice, tech advice. So it's more like, so we like to treat our angel investors as almost our extended co-founders.
Sure.
And that is something that has served us really well in terms of the network, advice, and it's just like packaging up years and years of experience, 10, 15 years of experience into, a crisp email or a 30-minute phone call.
Sure. So when we have this funding conversation with a lot of the entrepreneurs who come on the show, a lot of people say we have bootstrapped in the initial couple of years because we didn't want to bring on board, like you were saying, extended co-founders. We didn't want to bring on board a third party so early on in the company till we've had the chance to really sort of, figure out the business model ourselves. You have done the opposite, and it has worked for you. But if you would have anything to say to people who are raising these questions, say why bring an investor so early on in the life cycle of the company, what would you have to say?
Right. So you should never bring in an investor whom you don't know or whom you don't trust. A very important thing is to have even not even early in the life cycle, till you reach a Series A stage, till you have established product market fit, you should always bring in investors who are more of your friends than investors, And most of our investors, for that matter, they don't care about money, they just backed us because they liked us. So we think that that's the way to do, but we definitely think that you should bootstrap for as long as possible.
Okay.
Because even before our first round of funding, we spent almost some 5 months within the Delhi market going on the ground and talking to 300 doctors. So Shashwat, our tech co-founder, would code in, we had a bungalow, so we rented out a house, he would code there. And the 3 of us, Vaibhav, Chetan and me, we would go and meet. We met some 500 doctors within a span of some 45 days in Delhi to understand whether they would even use this kind of a solution.
Okay.
So we also went through that phase,
okay.
And then we were, I would say, lucky to have some really good people
sure.
back us.
2 things I want to touch upon as we are closing this interview down. One is the role of the government in India, particularly you have, Ayushman Bharat, and that's worked very well for a lot of companies, particularly, entrepreneurs who are in this space with startups. What sort of impact has that had for you possibly?
One of the good parts of Ayushman Bharat is that, it has really, and it will continue to really boost the secondary care infrastructure. This year's, in this year's budget also, you saw that the government is putting a lot of emphasis on primary care centers and wellness centers. So if so startups can really tap into that market and help the government achieve their goals, at the same time help the citizens get access to better care, better preventive care, uh, and at the same time build a business out of that. So we are really bullish on Ayushman Bharat. One of the biggest things that it has done is it has improved the health insurance penetration. So a 5 lakh cover across private hospitals and government hospitals is a really good thing for 50 crore citizens, which the government is promising. So we think that it's going to really boost the healthcare market, and
Sure.
it should be on track to touch about $300 billion very soon.
Okay. Also, your announcement as far as your tie-up with Phonepe is concerned, and I want to talk about the broader role really of innovation in a sector like yours.
So we think that there's a lot of scope for innovation in healthcare, especially around data, and using the data to do a bunch of things around predictive healthcare. Phonepe tie-up was really interesting because what Phonepe is trying to do is create an ecosystem of micro apps. So there's a large base of 200 million odd customers on Phonepe, and all you need to do is create a micro app which can fit inside of the Phonepe app. It's similar to WeChat in China.
Okay.
And anyone who is coming on Phonepe and exploring other things on Phonepe can land up on Visit and use it to book a health check or book a doctor visit and pay just via their Phonepe wallet or UPI. So it's a well integrated, cohesive ecosystem, and we are really bullish on Phonepe.
I wish you all the very best.
Thanks.
Anurag, thanks for your time
Thanks a
here in
lot.
studio. We're going to slip into a short break on that note. On the other side, we're in conversation with Masaba Gupta. Just stay tuned. Welcome back. You're with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow, and tonight on the show, our second conversation is with Masaba Gupta. Mansi Chokse caught up with Masaba Gupta to understand from her what it means to be a young entrepreneur. She started her journey at the age of 19. Also, what it means to stay on top of changing consumer preferences. Take a listen.
Thank you so much for joining us on the show, Masaba.
Thank you.
You have just celebrated the 10th anniversary of the House of Masaba. Tell us something about this journey.
I think it's really been a very rewarding one, more than anything else. And I think I, as an individual and as a professional, has really grown along with the label. I think who we were as a label and as a design house, even 5 years back, has been very different from who we are today. So I think there's definitely been a shift from being a label that was run out of a one-bedroom apartment to today we have 11 stores, and we're a funded company. We employ over 150 people. So I think there's been a lot of shift that's happened from being a boutique brand to being a full-fledged retail setup. And I think that more than that, the shift has really happened in my head as a creative individual, because I think creative people are not really known to be very enterprising or have entrepreneurial skills. And that's something we've been able to shake off and really build a business out of what we do.
It also brings me to my next question. You just said that it becomes really difficult for designers. So striking that balance of creativity and managing the business side of it, how did you manage all of that?
I think the first step is to get somebody who comes with a very subjective view of the business. And by this I mean somebody who's not necessarily from fashion, and who can really look at it as an independent business and not as a creative individual. Because I think creative people, I mean, we have so many creative people in the office as well. I'm very, very creative. I've learned the ropes of business in the past few years, but I don't think I was inherently born with it. I think the first step is to get somebody who has a vision for it that is very different from yours. And I think only then you can see it as a very different business and be able to kind of adapt to what he's really trying to say. And the other part is detaching yourself from the business. So I treat it like my own little baby, and I have so many feelings attached to the business. But I think when you're finally doing numbers and you employ so many people, I would say emotion has to take a little bit of a back seat, not completely, but I think the focus has to be on really being somebody who is quick to adapt to change, is somebody who is just quick to adapt to the market, to understand the market, to understand objectively what the market needs, and not just creatively what the market needs, but both things. And I think for me that was a big challenge, because I was used to fulfilling the requirements of one store for so many years, and then as you grow you realize that customers ask for things that you didn't think that they would ever ask for. We now have investors, and that's a whole new ball game. So I think for us, I think it's very important to detach the emotion as a creative individual and look at it from a commerce point of view as well. So it's very important that that balance is met.
So in India in past few years, the internet penetration has grown. Now social media is an integral part of our lives. How can entrepreneurs leverage it, especially the entrepreneurs who are working in the fashion sector, to gain more traction?
Well, we're a brand that was built on the digital space. We're an Instagram-led brand. We've never done any conventional form of marketing as such, be it print ads or hoardings or outdoor, any of that. Everything that is there, that has existed at House of Masaba, is on our social media pages. And we also get enough and more feedback from these pages from people. So we're really a brand that is Instagram and social media and digital heavy. I think today it's both the biggest blessing as well as the biggest curse to have so much of penetration of the internet, because what happens is anybody sitting out of their home can create a brand today and create a little page on social media and say that, look, we exist, and then you're already in the universe of fashion. Of course, creating a retail chain out of it is something that requires a big shift in your mindset. But I think today it's very easy to access different types of people, different layers of society because of Instagram, because of social media. And I think young fashion brands can really do that. It doesn't cost anything.
What do you think are the top points somebody should keep in their mind while trying to build a fashion brand?
Our phones are in our hands all the time. We keep looking down. We forget to look up at the world for inspiration. So I think that's one thing. Which is also resulting in a lot of plagiarism. Whether it's accidental or it's done on purpose is a different topic altogether. But I think one of the main things is, and I'm asked this all the time, is that what is it that sets you apart from the others? And it's a big cliche, but it's the most important question that you need to ask yourself, because if I can't tell what your pair of pants are from a Zara or an H&M or anybody, any big brand, I think that's a non-starter to begin with, because uniqueness, having an individual identity are all very important things, because like I said, there's so many brands today. What is it that sets you apart? Secondly, what are you here for? Which is, are you here to fulfill a passion, which means that you can run a business out of your home, have select clients, travel the world for inspiration, come back, do shorter, smaller collections, and you're very happy? Or do you have a bigger appetite? Do you have the appetite to be a retail giant? What kind of makes me a bit sad about the Indian fashion scene is that we have the largest resources in terms of manpower, in terms of everything, to be able to be, in terms of manufacturing, to be able to create as many brands as possible. Why haven't young designers been able to do that? Why haven't we moved out of the digital space?
You started your career at a very young age, at 19 if I'm not wrong. How important do you think is seeking mentors or guidance when somebody is starting in a fashion sector?
It's very important. I think I would say it's a double-edged sword. I mean, I had Wendell Rodericks, who was my mentor, but he was my mentor from college. So he saw my journey as a student and then as a designer. Sometimes I think that internships and having way too many mentors can corrupt you and confuse you. Because what happens is that I think every young person should have the liberty and be given the privilege to think for themselves. And once they've done their thinking, they should come with all of their thoughts in front of the mentor and say, which one should I pick?
So fashion is quite capital intensive. To manufacturing a collection, designing, all of this is quite capital intensive. How do somebody should go about raising fund in this sector or managing their funds? What advice would you give?
I think the one thing that I learned about managing funds is that always save up for a rainy day. No business is failure proof and no business is shock proof. So make sure you have enough savings for when things might, hit a rough patch. The economy turns so soon sometimes, and we're sitting right in the middle of one economy turn happening at the moment. And I think that it's important to have enough resources for those kind of days. So don't ever think that you won't run out of money. Is very important. Secondly, I think with raising money, the first thing to do is to be able to have the mindset that you're going to have people who, investing in your business, investing in your vision. It's a big mindset shift because then you're answerable to a lot more people. It's not just you and your team. It's a lot more people. It's a lot more number crunching. So I would encourage people to learn that, because if you don't know that, then it's always trouble, because while you might have people doing it for you, it's important that you learn it yourself so that over time you can do it yourself and you're not caught in the blind.
So what are your plans for House of Masaba?
Oh God, for House of Masaba. I think one of the major plans is that we've of course expanded our retail chain considerably in the last 1 year itself. We added 4 to 5 more stores in the last year. We will penetrate into tier 2, tier 3 cities as well, both online and offline. The other plan is that athleisure is a big category for us that we'd like to build on in the summer of 2020. So that will be an online exclusive mass brand, which we've never done before. And that's the big plan. And the other big plan, of course, is beauty, which we just launched with Nykaa this year in July. And we will build on that portfolio in the coming 3 to 5 years. So you'll see a lot more beauty products, hopefully skincare, fragrances and things like that, because I think beauty is the next big deal in the world of fashion, if I may say so. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing all this information with us and our viewers.
Thank you.
That's our show tonight. If you have any feedback for us, do let us know. Our contact details coming up on your screens in just a moment. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.